Councilman Tucker,
Here.
Councilman Kenahan,
Here.
Councilman Padula,
Here.
Council Vice President Giroux,
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
There's a quorum. Oh, hold on. Minutes of the previous meeting resolved that the minutes of the October 20th, 2015 and November 3rd, 2015 Town Council meeting are hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, just wanted to check, no, there's no link, so you can't actually read the previous minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Hold on a second. Consent agendas. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to the proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. There is about 85 licenses on here that have all been approved.
One of the licenses, Mary Ann, did you take out?
No, that's
Manchester?
further down.
It's in there, but it's for discussion.
No, but Manchester 65, you just didn't.
We just approved it.
That's a different,
That's like.
That's the
like.
victual
acting as liquor.
It's separate?
Right,
No.
that's what I'm getting at. If you just approve their victualling license and alcohol license.
No, the alcohol down in license renewals is D, discussion, it's under G.
Okay, okay.
And then if you, I think that's the way, yes.
Yeah.
What were you here for, sir?
We are about a business trying to get licensed, a used car dealership, rental car company. That was just part of what we did.
Yeah, let me just double check, make sure. What's the name on that?
G&B, auto sales and car rental.
All right, let me just go through. David Johnson, Thomas Fasella, Mark Perry for Kent County Lawnmower, Kenny Isimone and Sun Car Care, Marshall Domestics, Iamundi Foods, Olga Hawa, TBA Makeup and Image, G&B Automotive,
That's what I'm here for.
Judy T Studios. Anybody else here for licenses? You've been approved.
No, I'm not here, I'm here to oppose them getting a
Oppose them.
license.
Okay,
Object to it.
Where is this? Where is that?
can we go back to that then?
Back to it, already approved it.
It's already been approved.
It's been approved, but I didn't really give him a chance to
Right.
come up and speak. I didn't.
Well, then undo what you've done.
I make a motion to rescind our vote, last vote on licenses.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, now you gotta read it all over again.
Read that over again, Mary.
Consent agenda license applications. Resolved that the consent agenda, having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, discussion. Come on up, state your name and address for the record and let us know what you get.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that.
Just push that button. That's it.
Good evening, my name's Brian Sweet, I'm at 65 JC Drive in West Warwick. I'm here in regards to a business that is trying to get a license for auto sales and rental cars. The name of the company is G&B, Automotive Car Rentals and Sales. They're now located at 1539 Main Street in West Warwick. They used to be on One Tyke Ave. They moved from there maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They took the gentleman's cars that owns the place. They took a list of cars, which I have here, and the lease agreement for which they took all his vehicles. The gentleman since passed away. His wife is also co-owner of the company. And we are trying to get this blocked because they are nervous that they're going to get their cars sold on them. The attorneys have this in court right now. This is now a legal issue with the police department.
Let me ask a question. That is a state license. They have to get a state license for the auto dealers.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think this is just a
This is
license
just to operate the business, which is.
to operate the
This
business.
is the old, Land Motors property.
Correct.
But now the state, what I understand, I'm a dealer, I know, the state had to okay that move. So if there was any litigation or anything, I mean, Mr. Solicitor, correct me if I'm wrong, the state would have held back on, I mean, what jurisdiction do we have?
Well, the litigation wouldn't do anything unless there was a final judgment. So
Okay.
Even if there's a lawsuit pending right now, unless there's been a final judgment that has not been appealed, that would have no effect on their way to operate anyway. But the business license they're asking the town to approve is just to allow them to be in business, not the particular type of business that the license gets from the state, excuse me.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with them having these people's vehicles and operating with them?
If you're making a statement that this particular entity has stolen vehicles,
Yes,
all right, that's a different
Dealer
issue
commission.
altogether.
yes.
So if the Attorney General or the Rhode Island State Police are investigating or they brought a criminal charge against this entity, that can still play out. But there's been no final verdict against this entity, correct?
Correct. They, today it was turned over to the West Warwick Police Department.
So it's probably in the preliminary stages of the investigation.
They're going to be issuing an arrest for him. He was, given 7 days from last week to return all the vehicles. He also took off with the gentleman's equipment, disabled his compressors, wrote on his machinery,
Can I ask you, how do you know all this?
because I know the former owners of the company.
But has someone taken your property too?
No, she asked me to come down here because she lives in Florida. Her husband's services are tomorrow, so she cannot be down here for this.
Chief, do you have anything to add about this particular investigation at this point in time, or is it still too early? Still too early to address.
Don't know much about this complaint.
Well,
Can we approve the other licenses, remove this one until we know more?
To get some answers?
oh, absolutely. But if he's already open, all you're gonna do is stop him, and he's gonna come in and ask why was his license not approved, and your answer is gonna be because allegations have been made. If allegations are gonna be made, you're gonna stop everybody, because anybody can come in, I'm not saying that you're right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yes, sir.
But any citizen could come in and say, you know, I have an allegation against this particular.
We can take the license away anytime.
But
If you approve it.
normally you're gonna take it away for cause, not just because someone came in and said, you know.
No, I'm saying if they get a judgment against him or he is charged and gets found guilty.
No, that's different.
So we could take the license anyway, so it's not like we're issuing them one that we can't revoke.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying, but right
No, I was
now,
just
if it's just a
answering
preliminary
Brian.
investigation, and they wanna know why you're not gonna grant the license, and you say, well, there's a preliminary investigation, that's really not gonna hold, water in a court of law. But it doesn't mean that the license can't be revoked at a later date if in fact the investigation
Okay.
follows through with a,
Yeah, because the vehicles are on here insured and registered to Discount Car Rentals, and he is changing the name. So her biggest concern was worried that
Sir,
he could.
right now, you're making an allegation against this entity that we don't know true, false, or indifferent.
Okay.
But if the police have been given this information, certainly if there's anything more to it, I'm sure Colonel Silver is gonna report back to the town council or turn it over to the state police if it goes outside of West Warwick or outside of Rhode Island,
Okay,
okay?
all right. Thank you.
Okay, any other concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agenda correspondence resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution. Second.
Moving second, any discussion? We have a resignation letter from Bob Pagliata. The only thing is, I'm looking at the resignation letter, and it says his term expires January 18, 2016.
17.
It's actually 15. It expires November of 2015. I have the resolution here in front of me.
I thought so.
And I went back 3 terms prior, and one, Norman Cahuet, expired 11/2005, and then Bob Pagliata expired 2010. We reappointed him in 2010, and
then the term expired in November of 2015. So, Marion, if you just want to send him a copy of this resolution, let him know that his term's expired, so the first meeting in December, we'll probably be voting on a new member.
Bob Pagliata?
Yes.
So are we accepting this resignation as
Well,
of
we
the
gotta-
end of his term?
Well, we haven't got the resignation yet. He just sent the resignation letter, but that's further down on the agenda.
Oh, sorry.
This is just part of correspondence,
Yeah, just accepting that we received it.
just accepting that we received the letter. We also received a letter from Susan Banks requesting to be reappointed for juvenile hearing board, which is further down the agenda. And the Arctic Village Association is looking for $500 donation, which is further down the agenda. So, any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Amplifier loudspeaker permit, resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application, Arctic Village Association, attention Barbara Tabak, location Arctic Gazebo, date November 30th, 2015, time 5 to 8 p.m.
I'll move the resolution. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any public discussion? You wanna move that to 9 o'clock, because I know it goes past 8 o'clock. Does anybody have an issue with that?
Move the resolution as amended at 9 p.m.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Acting as liquor commission, subject to alcoholic beverage license renewal, resolved that the attached alcoholic beverage license renewal having been advertised in accordance with law for hearing on this date.
We're on
No.
the wrong one. We're on discussion action.
Discussion action number G.
Reconsider, evaluate Class B victual
Oh, I'm sorry.
license for Manchester 65.
Okay.
We're on the G1.
Acting, okay, go ahead.
G1, reconsider, evaluate, this is discussion action. So reconsider, reevaluate Class B victual license for Manchester 65. So Timmy, you want this on the agenda?
Yes, letters were sent, I'm sorry?
Town manager also wanted this on the agenda.
In light of several incidents or issues that have arisen over the past 24 months, I guess, leading up to the last concert involving Dave? Chief Keefe, and some issues with not only the West Warwick Police Department, but the Rhode Island State Police, and I believe the gang unit from Providence, as it related to another act that was on the undercard. There was a serious inquiry as to whether or not Mr. Vickers, Mrs. Vickers, or Manchester 65 was actually presenting or producing bands that they said that they were going to do originally a couple of years ago. So a letter was sent November 10th, 2015, to Manchester 65, care of Iris Toledo Vickers at 65 Manchester Street, West Warwick. Copy to James Vickers, who's 3308 Church Street, Richmond, Rhode Island. And I believe Mr. Vickers just walked in, so he's here in response. So if you want to bring him up to the microphone and answer your questions, feel free.
Mr. Vickers, you didn't miss anything, you just walked in, just discussing your liquor license. So if you want to just come on up and we can discuss what's going on at Manchester 65. How you doing?
Doing all right?
Received some concerning, yeah, Mr. Vickers, can you just,
James Vickers,
address?
330B Church Street, Richmond, Rhode Island.
Thank you. Received a couple emails and a couple of concerns, one from the town manager after the last concert you had, Chief Keefe, and his opening act, which was a local band, I guess. In the council had a discussion last council meeting, and when you came here 2 years ago, you sold us a bill of goods that, you know, it was gonna be country folk, family-oriented, and then I got an email from a fire marshal thanking the West Warwick Police Department for supplying him with a bulletproof vest for this concert. And the state police, the Providence gang unit, and federal agents in the town of West Warwick had to be in attendance for this concert.
They didn't have to be.
Well, they were very
They
concerned
decided,
about
they
it.
decided to be.
They were very concerned about it because you had various people there, including 13 to 17-year-old kids, and they were very concerned. And it was put to me point blank, the individuals that were at this site wouldn't think twice about shooting you in the head in front of anybody. So that gave me, and I'm 3,000 miles away when I'm reading this email, and I was very concerned of what are we allowing here in West Warwick? We don't need gangs, shootings, and any other nightclub crisis in this town. So I got on the phone with Fred Presley, and, you know, I don't think your club is honoring what they said they were gonna bring in 2 years ago. So, you know, that's why you're here before us tonight to talk about this liquor license, because we don't need another tragedy in West Warwick, something major like that to happen. And,
Well, we've been there for 2.5 years. We have no liquor violations. We've had 0 violence. We have no noise violations. So it seems to me like we've run a pretty tight ship. How many other bars in towns haven't had any violence or any liquor violations?
Would you say that this venue that you recently had models up with what you promised us when you started here?
When we first opened, the foundation of the programming was roots-oriented music, and I brought you guys a handout here. I wasn't able to get it Xeroxed, but you can pass it around. And the vast majority of what we do is what we said. It's a list of the various programming that we do. We do quite a bit of roots music. We do ska, which is a blend of reggae and jazz. We do a couple tribute bands, Blushing Brides, which are kind of, you know, a staple in Rhode Island. Some country, some good amount of folk. We do a lot of charitable benefits. There's a list there. We do a little bit of hip hop, a little bit. And this just happened to be a show that, if it wasn't for social media, nobody would even have noticed we're doing this show. What happened with this particular show was that there's some guy in Florida has an axe to grind with Chief Keef and decided to put a fake petition, putting our congressman on it, on social media. Go Local Providence, being a blog and not a news source, decided to follow up on that. And it exponentially grew in the media. The reality is, shows like Chief Keef draw suburban high school kids. And actually, I have a photo of the crowd on my phone if you'd like to see it. A lot of suburban high school kids.
well,
Now, security is extraordinarily tight when we do hip hop, which is once a month. And everyone's wanted, everyone's patted down. We've never even had a fight. We've done quite a few of these shows. It's just that this one,
For those shows, Mr. Vickers, what type of security do you provide?
we use East Coast Security. They're the biggest security company in the area. And then I kind of handpick the guys from that who are security guys who work the Providence clubs, the tough clubs, and they come down and they make sure it's very peaceful. Now, we've had a really good relationship with the West Warwick Police Department. You might have noticed I always compliment them when we have a detail down. I've worked very closely with Major Knott. And anytime we do a hip-hop show, he and I communicate, and he reaches out to the gang task force to find out if there's going to be any gang members that are planning on coming. And in the past, I've actually told promoters to call these people, tell them not to come. And that's kind of how we've handled it.
all right, and while we're on this, so we're not,
You want me to get you that photo?
no,
You guys can take a
while
look
we're
at it?
beating a dead horse, I just want to confirm 2 things. Have you been evicted from 65
No.
Manchester?
We're involved in a lawsuit with our landlord for various things that I don't want to speak about in
Okay,
case we get in
that's fine,
court.
that's your business.
But we're not
Are you
evicted.
leaving in January?
We are planning on, we have settled the case with the landlord. We're waiting to sign off on the documents, and our plan is to move out before February 1st. So yes, we're leaving. Either we're going to go to court and leave, or we're going to leave amicably with a settlement. So for all intents and purposes, we are not staying.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Vickers?
If you're not staying, is
Is there any value to this license? Are you planning on maybe
He owes
selling it
money.
to someone?
No, we're just gonna, I mean, the thing is, I have contracts through January with bands, and, I gotta honor those contracts, and that's basically it. So if I don't honor those contracts, my position in the music industry will be greatly diminished moving forward when we relocate someone else. I'm either gonna have to pay them outright, which is a lot of money, $20,000, $30,000, or honor the contracts and do the shows.
And how about your police and fire details? I have one bill in front of me for fire. Has your police and fire details been paid?
We owe police some money, and we owe fire some money, and we'll be getting that paid up. We are appealing a couple of the fire details. We've had some differences of opinion.
Who are you appealing them to?
State board?
And do you have a case number?
No, not yet. I had to send it up. I sent it up, and then I sent it to the wrong place. I got to send it to another
When
place.
did you file the appeal? Can you tell us?
I sent a letter a few weeks ago, and then they said I got to do it differently.
What do you have,
I'm not very savvy about that process.
what's your, schedule look like from here to February?
As far as like major, I don't have any hip hop booked other than one local show right now. I mean, we are taking shows, so I don't really. The last show we have booked is The Blushing Brides, January 22nd. And between now and then, we have LA Guns, which is a popular local rock show, Iron Butterfly from the 70s, Tight Crew Production Company, they do EDM for New Year's Eve. And I have to kind of look at it after that, as far as like national touring acts and stuff. You know, there's offers out that I got to be confirmed too, that I've made offers, and, you know, they got to respond.
I just have two concerns. How do we recoup our money for the details for Mr. Vickers' moves? And how can we have some kind of hold on if there's any trouble, well, from now until
Well, this is the hearing process, but
February?
Mr. Vickers in the, is this fire, police or fire?
Well, my
Fire.
suggestion.
It's $671
My
right now.
suggestion's gonna be that even though you're appealing it, you can pay it, and if you're successful on your appeal, you can get reimbursed.
That's true. We can go on a payment plan. I don't have a problem about the money.
That's not as easy as a payment plan. Some of these things go back to July of 2013 that they haven't been paid. You got this bill on October 21st, 2015.
I just paid some fire. I mean, some police.
The last check they have here is November 6th, 2014, you paid $100. Prior to that was May 7th, 2014, you paid $100. Prior to that was January 14th, you paid $100. This is for fire. Chief, do you have the police? Thank you. What's the total on that?
671
Chief, while you're up here,
and 769.
can I ask you a question? Sure. Mr. Vickers said that your correspondence has said that also, that there's been no violations, three things, that you haven't, no violations. Right?
Total paid $500.
So I know a lot of the neighbors over there,
That itself gets some.
you know, might see it differently, but officially, there's been no violations. You've not been cited on any of those things that you mentioned. All right. And Chief, you can vouch for that?
Yeah, we haven't had many complaints. We've had some here and there.
Right.
There've
But not
been no
that-
violations
There's
issued,
been no violations.
but, our concerns would be the type of groups and the potential for, problems and violence that some of these groups,
Sure.
accompany these groups.
But in fact, up to this point, there's been no violations.
Correct.
Outstanding owed right now is $1,440, both to police and fire.
Well, that would be, and this is what I would personally suggest, I wouldn't issue a license for the alcoholic beverages until those are paid. I mean, that's,
That's going to be very difficult. We're not doing that well.
well, unfortunately, I mean, if somebody doesn't pay their taxes, we don't renew their license. And
Taxpayers are on the hook for this.
so if, you guys have dealt with people who haven't paid their police and fire detail before, and you've dealt with it on another level. So it's,
Could we do partial payment and get it paid up by the end of the year?
Angelo brought up a good point, Mr. Vickers. Come February, you leave and you owe $2,000, you can up and leave and we'll be chasing you forever.
I'm sure you get your money. You don't escape
No, you don't
city
escape,
bills.
but, you know.
Yeah, let me ask this question. I just, not playing devil's advocate, but, Chief, you have any other venues in town, that, still owe, the police department? And the fire department's not here.
Yeah,
But
you're
like,
back.
any other entity in town that owes for an
Fire
extended period?
department's here, Ed.
The
There's
guy back
two
there
gentlemen
with
in the
badge,
back.
the white
Okay.
shirt?
To your knowledge, are there other companies or entities for details or whatever that have not paid in full for the last few months?
We're going back to
I think,
2013.
generally, we're up to date
I
with,
think you should get up to date.
generally, we're up to date with most companies. I mean, some take,
But there are a few.
there may be,
Yeah,
correct.
Okay. Now, I know last time I checked, there were a
Sure.
few. You know, they owed hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because we really don't have a real strong mechanism to collect.
I think what we ought to do, Ed, me and Ed were
I just
discussing-
don't have those,
No, I
that
understand. No,
information
thank
Me
you
in
and
front
Ed
of
was
me.
discussing a little while ago, Dave, I don't think we should be chasing the ball on this. These should be paid as we use them, because
Of course.
look at Providence, they were after what, $2 million uncollectible? So, I mean,
We'll put it on
this
next,
is, yeah, on the next agenda.
On the
I'd
next
like to
agenda,
have
we'll
that
put it on.
there, so we can do some resolution or ordinance or whatever it is. But this should be paid upfront, how much we're gonna use, or it should be paid the day after, or whatever we use, because the taxpayers are on the hook for this, if it's not collected. So, I mean, I don't think that the taxpayers of this town should be held responsible for a bill
Yeah, because we pay
for
the,
someone that pays no taxes.
we pay the employee the following week after they
Right.
do the detail. Well,
This
2
is something
weeks,
that's-
depending on
This
how
is just
they
something
get
that's
paid.
going on and on and on. I brought it up before over the last few years. You know, why are we extending that? When we have licenses, when we give our licenses, we don't say you can pay us next month. Get paid right away, right? Although I did see that someone had owed $150 on last meeting. You had a handwritten note on there that someone owed you something. But in any case, we'll talk about that later on. Right now, you guys have to decide, he's had no violations.
No.
And
The only,
that's fact.
the only violations, it's nothing to do with violence or anything like that. It's non-payment from 2013.
We owe some money.
That's not a violation, though.
No,
We just owe some money.
You can, under the
But
statute.
we've allowed it.
Under the statute, you can
Unfortunately.
revoke.
What's that?
I said, under the statute, you can revoke, and the question of allowing it is whether or not there was a payment plan reached.
Yeah.
Was there a payment plan reached?
No.
So, I mean, if without a payment plan, without a payment, you have ability under the statute to revoke, based only on this issue
Well,
of.
we need to catch up on these
Okay.
outstanding balances. I mean, the 2013.
I know we gotta clear it up before we leave.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
there's no
pretty
doubt
fair.
about that, because
Well,
then,
if the council is considering giving him his license starting December 1st through February 1st, you can do that. But you can also make a condition upon him payment of the 1447 that he owes.
Can we do it through year's end?
Excuse me?
Can we do it just through year's end? Provided we get payments and extend it from there?
Well, no, because his budget.
he's leaving
excuse me, his
February
budget-
1st,
his-
by
his-
February
His, license would start December 1st. But my question, if he's gonna be leaving February 1st, basically with 75 days from today, for he's gonna be in operation, I don't know if he's gonna require further details, either fire or police. Not taking away the fact if you're objecting through the state, reimbursement would have to be made, but my suggestion would be, based upon what Councilman Giroux is saying, that if you want to allow him to stay in business up until the time he leaves, either voluntarily or through a court action, is to make sure you get paid what is owed now, prior to giving him his license.
I agree.
Chief Barris was trying to tell me something from the back.
Most of
but
it.
I asked Chief Barris to come to the front, because he was trying to tell me something from the back, and I just wanted on record.
There's no appeal to the state. The state has no jurisdiction on our details. What Mr. Vickers maybe is saying is, he's went to the state to oppose our sanction of a detail in his venue, which the state had agreed with our fire marshal that a detail was our jurisdiction. I don't know what you have there for payment. The last payment was, you said November 2014?
Yes. That was for police.
Mr. Vickers has promised
Fire,
us certified mail after mail by my secretary. He did send a couple of 3 times, $100 here and there, but we never received the payment, and I don't think that bill includes the latest show.
From October?
Correct.
So money is owed to the town.
I don't feel,
To send a detail over there when your house still owes money so much in the rear. Shame on us, but we'll fix it.
Well, we still have to send a detail for
Yeah, no,
safety
no, I understand.
purposes.
Exactly.
Well, no, you don't have to send a detail. If you need a detail, you could shut them down.
how do we
Because they haven't paid.
recoup this? If we don't hold back the, how do you recoup it?
He's gonna have to, he's gonna have to figure out
Either,
something.
either you're gonna take him at his word that
Thanks,
he's gonna
thanks,
pay, or you get the money up front.
Well, I'm a true believer, I think being a businessman, being a taxpayer of this town for 5 generations, I don't think I or anyone else in this town should be held responsible or put in a position where we pay for his taxes, out of our taxes. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm not gonna vote for that. I think either we get paid like we do if they don't pay their license fee, or if they don't do what we're supposed to do to get their license, we shut them down. We've done it before, and there's no difference in this situation or anybody else's, and nothing against you. It's anybody who'd be standing here, if it was one of my relatives. You pay like everybody else pays, no special treatment.
I agree, Angelo. I only feel comfortable issuing the 2-month liquor license under the condition that
we get paid
all
up front.
details are paid by December 1st, which is when the licenses go into effect.
I agree to that.
And then is the fee gonna be for 2 months versus a year? If it should be a 2-month
You want
license?
to prorate the fee
Yeah, we'll
for 2
prorate
months?
that, sure.
We can prorate the fee.
We could do that for
Okay,
you.
that works.
Yeah. We're easy.
There's a comeback for that, but I won't say it because it's being
So,
recorded.
Thank you.
just to
Uh,
recap
Wait,
it, just to recap.
So just, there's gonna be a payment of what is owed. Whatever he's gonna do with the state, he can do with the state, notwithstanding what the chief said.
Of all details and taxes.
That includes that what is owed from what, the October 30th date?
From whatever is owed up to,
Well, the only thing I have on here is through 2/14/15. The other additional date, was that October date, chief? So you got $1,440 owed, and upon payment,
We don't, listen, we don't have to worry about what he owes. As long as the clerk knows that, and both departments, police and fire, need to get the information over to the clerk and to Mr. Vickers, so he knows what he owes and what he knows, and the license is not to be issued until they're paid. I mean, that's simple. We can go on about it all night, but I just wanna move
And it'll
on.
be a prorated 2-month license.
And we'll give him a prorated 2-month license, so you take the license fee, divide by 12, and take 2.
How will we handle future details?
that's gonna be
If
on the
any.
next agenda.
we're gonna have that put on there, we're gonna straighten this out.
Yep.
And if you want the license issued immediately, my suggestion would be either a bank check, we don't take cash, do we? Bank check or
You take
cash,
everything.
In God we trust.
Root of all evil.
because if you give a personal check or a business check, it's gonna clear, has to clear.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vickers, for coming
Vickers,
tonight,
thank you.
and
Thank
we'll be
Good luck to you.
going through the license approvals in a minute. All right, you can read the next one.
Alcoholic beverage license renewal, resolved that the attached alcoholic beverage license renewal having been advertised in accordance with law for hearing on this date, no remonstrant or objectors present, the same is hereby approved, subject to all inspections being completed, health department approval, all taxes being paid, and a letter of good standing being received.
I'll move the resolution.
Second,
Move in second, any discussion?
does this include the previous license, or was that taken out from this
So,
bundle?
that's be amended for what you just said,
Okay.
for that one item.
Well,
So I
it should be for all items. All fees should be paid. We've talked about this so many times.
Just with respect to the term of the license.
Yeah.
Manchester 65 needs to be
But
clarified.
everybody who's on here for a license,
Should not know
their
anything.
taxes, everything should be approved.
to
No
date.
license unless they're paid. We've taken people off the toll list for that reason. We've done, I mean, like Angelo said, it's not fair to the taxpayer that we're sitting here letting businesses run without them paying their bills, because if the taxpayer didn't pay their taxes, we're all over them, and we're gonna we're gonna put tax sales on their houses and so on and so forth. Well, you know, these tangibles and all that, that they were getting away with not paying because there was no enforcement, well, there's the way to enforce it, is we don't give you a license unless you're paid up. It's simple, it's already on the books.
So in regards to this attachment, I make a motion to amend the section under Class B victualler, item 14, Manchester 65, DBA Manchester 65, address 65 Manchester Street, to a 2-month prorated license,
I'll second that.
Based upon the conditions.
Yeah.
based upon the conditions of payment in
in
full of all
full.
taxes, fees, and details,
Police and fire details.
police and fire details, on or before December 1st.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
so that's a motion, seconded, just on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Now I have a motion to,
Motion to move as amended.
I'll second that also.
any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolved that the following, subject 77 Lennox Avenue. Resolved that the following reimbursement is hereby granted per recommendation from the sewer, let me just back up a second. Town council acting as town council. 77 Lennox Avenue. Resolved that the following reimbursement is hereby granted per recommendation from the Sewer Use Appeals Board and presented by the Director of Administration of the Wastewater Treatment Facility for approval by the town council. Mr. Stephen Kenny, 77 Lennox Avenue, plat 14, lot 882, reimbursement $104.51.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Hi, Christine. You could have left, you should have told me.
Well, you might have a question. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Every time I hit the exit.
Okay.
Cancellation of taxes. Resolved that the attached cancellations in the amount of $5,289.60 presented to the tax assessor for approval of the town council in accordance with Article 25, Section 5 of the West Warwick Code of Ordinances is hereby approved. Original list is on file in the office of the tax assessor.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Ordinance number 2015-16, an ordinance related to the placement of a traffic control device.
J1, financial update.
Oh, I don't have it. Okay, sorry.
Jay. This is, update, financial audit update.
Yes. Just wanted to give the council some information related to the fiscal year-end audit that we're commencing with right now. We expect to have draft of the financial statements at the beginning of December, and we're still on target for the December 31st requirement to have the report issued per the Auditor General's office. Just wanted to give an update related to the numbers that we currently have for the preliminary financial statements. I just wanted to mention that the 5-year plan did anticipate a $2 million deficit for fiscal 15. However, based on the results that we have right now, we're looking at half of that amount for fiscal 15. And the main reason for that has to do with the timing of collections for taxes as well as the rescue billings that we currently have. It's not lost revenue, it's just that the collection rate for fiscal 15 did not go as well as what we had expected. But we do expect that that will be made up in subsequent years, because we do have a record of collecting approximately 98 to 99% of prior year taxes when you look at them over a period of time. So again, it's not lost revenue, but for the snapshot as of June 30th of the fiscal year, it does show that there is a shortage in that tax collection amount. As far as the rescue billing revenue that we do have, we did look at the collections for both May and June, and they were down slightly compared to last year, which is why we did not hit the target number as of June. But we did look at July and August, and we do see that those numbers are higher this year than last year. So again, we expect that that money will come in, but it'll come into fiscal 16 rather than 15. So again, it's not lost revenue, so it is not the worst
So that's
news.
for sure, we're gonna see that money?
We feel pretty comfortable that we will, because of the collection rate that we've
Yeah,
had.
we felt comfortable that we wouldn't be in a mess like this, but it happened. So again, it could happen again, right?
It is revenue that we do expect to collect, simply put. It's not lost revenue. And again, compared to what the five-year plan called for fiscal 15, we're doing better than we actually had anticipated. And on the expense side, we're actually running in target with the budget, that's what we have direct control over.
The
is
rescue
the
revenue,
expenses.
that goes in a separate account. Right.
Yes, it does. There is a portion that actually budgeted to the general fund, so I'm talking about the amount that we actually keep. There's,
I was gonna say, could we adjust that?
well, that'll be a discussion that'll come up during the budget. During the budget time, Chief Barris and I and Fred have had some conversations about potentially addressing one of the items that has been mentioned at the previous meeting. I believe Council Vice President Giroux had mentioned possibly trying to use that fund to actually get some additional equipment besides rescue. So we're working on a proposal that we'll present to you to potentially address the issues on the capital side of things out of that rescue fund, which would involve increasing the amount that goes into that rescue, decreasing on the revenue to the general fund, but that'll be in future years.
But this is what I was just telling Dave. So we're expecting it to be short now, but we'll probably see an increase in 2016.
Correct.
So we have a revenue shortage on our side, and they'll still get their percentage going to their side. And I was just telling him that if we took the shortage and took it from the rescue portion side and moved it over to the revenue side, right? And then next year, when he has a surplus, the revenue still comes in the same dollar of revenue, but then you cover that shortage on the backside of 2000.
That fund does not actually get the percentage that is saved until it's actually collected. What's that? It's a percentage of collections. It's not a percentage of what is billed.
Subsequently, a revenue to pay a prior year debt, you're gonna get
No,
yourself
no,
cheaped up.
that's just, and plus, that fund does not actually get the revenue until, or that portion of the revenue until it's collected. So that fund doesn't grow, and the general fund suffer, for lack of a better way of saying it.
What was the percentage that we used this year compared to the previous year? Did we go a little bit higher? Was it the same?
For taxes, yes, it was the same.
Same by ordinance, right?
Right.
No, you're talking about.
We can do that.
You're talking about rescue or?
No, not rescue. I'm talking about the revenue, tax revenue.
Right, correct. It's the same as what we use.
Same percentage of collections.
Correct. But we have had tax increases over the last couple of years in the economy, so
Yeah, but we've
we're
also,
attributing it
we've
to that.
also, several years counted on surplus at the end of the year too, from that percentage. And I think we could probably we could have gone even higher, I think. Isn't that governed by the Auditor General on the percentage, his recommendation on the percentage that you can use?
Not for collections.
It used to be anyway, I don't know.
No. We
There's
have
a formula that he recommends.
We have a 60-day window of collections for July and August that we
Yeah.
can accrue back to the previous year, which was another reason why we came in shorter on the revenue, because this year we did not benefit from a huge tax payment like we did with previous year with the Royal Mills.
Yeah.
Back in July of last year, we had about $300,000 that came in intangible taxes that helped us in fiscal 14, but we had to take it out of the 15 revenue. So combination of all those things, plus about a 1% change in the collections for both current year and prior year is the reason why we have the timing issue related to the revenues. But again, we expect that we will collect it, but it won't be money that we can put into fiscal 15. It'll have to be part of 16. But in lieu of what did actually take place, what Fred and I have discussed is during the budget session, we're going to take a look at the revenues and maybe adjust the collection number for the 17 budget. This way, if in fact the collections don't come in as well, we won't have that, we won't have to worry about reaching that target. But more importantly, if we do better than what we expect, then it could potentially lead to a surplus. So we're going to be more
The
conservative.
more you lower that, the more you have to increase the taxes to make up the difference.
It depends on other items in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
budget.
potentially.
Potentially.
You could do other things,
Right.
but
And keep in mind as well.
traditionally, that's how it works.
And although we do have, the deficit that's coming, that's going to be in fiscal 15, we do have $200,000 that was reserved in the 16 budget to help restore fund balance. So theoretically, that money could go back into supplement, the shortage for the 15 budget. But ultimately, well,
So I mean, I understand you're saying next year we're gonna make it up, so it's kind of like
a paper thing, however.
It's a timing
But
issue.
how do the money people feel
We've already,
when they see that?
we've already had a
Yeah.
conference
Moody's
call.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things like
they've
that.
been, you know, we have told them of the preliminary results for the audit, and they do realize that the 5-year plan called for a $2 million deficit,
on that
and that
end, we're
we're
doing
better
much
than
better.
doing, we're better than the 5-year plan, which they were pleased to see that we're better, and they
so no
were pleased to
points,
see.
no points taken away?
No,
with
no
it?
points taken
There
off.
was no
They-
change in our rating, because they
Correct.
just gave us a new
Good.
rating for the last bond, for the road bond.
Correct.
Oh, good.
And it was
And they
with
were-
this, with this information.
And they were happy to see that on the expense side, that we're running in line with the budget, because that's what we have direct, you know, we have direct influence on that, and we can, you know, monitor the expenses and control the expenses. So they were thankful to see that, in fact, the expenses were where they were, and they were also, they're mindful of the fact that it is a timing issue of the collections, and it's not lost revenue, as I mentioned earlier.
Thanks, John.
So, and just two other items I wanted to mention quickly. We did recently close on the bond issue for the senior center as well as the road improvements and so forth. So we do actually have that money available now. So we do want to, you know, bring up the idea again of a potential committee to address how we're going to set up the road bond going forward. It was mentioned briefly at the last meeting. But that's something that we do have the money available now. I have given a schedule to Karen Grandy for the timing of the money, as far as being spent within 24 months. Everything is fine with that, but now I think we should take the time to plan accordingly so we can get it set up and avoid some of the problems that happened in the past. And other than that, just last meeting, I had handed out a budget schedule for the 17 budget. I just wondered if there were any thoughts or any feedback on the timing or any of the dates that were mentioned. Again, it just pretty much takes what we did last year and just bumps it up for another year. So there's no major changes to any of it.
I really can't speak on it, John, because
I've been doing a little more traveling for work, so once I see that schedule, I'll be able to comment on it.
I can, what I'll do is I'll send an email tomorrow to everyone, so you do have it. I do have copies if you.
I got a copy, I didn't have any problem with it, it's the same as last year, myself anyway, I looked at
it's
it.
a fine
Okay.
center.
What's that?
Should be pretty easy.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Any questions for John? And John, I sent an email off on that other situation. so
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully I'll know tomorrow.
Dave, we have someone waiting for the Tides School issue?
It's down in discussion action.
Yeah, no, can we bump it up?
If you want.
I'm just looking at the other things, and there's really nobody waiting for the other things.
Well, we can bang right through this real quick.
All right, good.
2015-16, second reading, sponsored by Town Council, an ordinance related to the placement of a traffic control device on Atlantic Avenue at the intersection of Glen Drive.
I'll, move the ordinance.
Second.
Move in second, any discussion?
This is just the second reading. This is the stop sign. It's a T intersection that has kind of just been a assumed stop sign for years, but too many near misses have occurred recently, so the Traffic Commission met and recommended a stop sign be erected, so.
Any other
Yeah, it's
comment?
sponsored, but what's staying on there, yeah. Yeah, other than, let's be careful not to leave out the sponsor of these
It
buses.
says
by Town
sponsored
Council.
Council.
Because it came from the safety committee.
Doesn't say any,
Doesn't
sponsored
say
by
it on
any.
K?
It says
Right in the very beginning, sponsored by
Yes.
Town Council, an ordinance related to.
Oh, right on top.
She just wasn't at the end this time.
Okay,
All right.
never mind.
Roll call vote. Angelo?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Brian? Yes. David?
Yes.
And I vote yes. What's the difference, guys?
Okay. Resignation from West Warwick Housing Authority. Resolved that the Town Council hereby acknowledges the resignation of Robert W. Pagliato of the West Warwick Housing Authority for the Town of West Warwick.
Pollyanna, and I'll move the resolution.
Second. Moving second discussion real quick. Like I said, he has January 18th, but I have the resolution here. It says November 2015. So, we'll
When I
take the.
called Paula on that a while ago, Dave, she said it was not
She's
up
got
until
three
the
resolutions.
17th.
We got the
Angela, she has
resolution right
three
here
different
showing it
resolutions. and I-
consecutively.
No, as long as, I've seen when you went through it, but.
And your signature's on this one. It's, you're here. I don't know who signed it. Jeff Roussel signed it in 06, 05. And then
No,
this
I-
one here is not
you've
even,
got
this
it
one's
here.
signed by John Flynn, and it's not even signed, it's typed. So, I mean, And then I saw one that showed 2016 also, so, but I went back 3 terms, and it starts on, 2005, 2010, 2015, so I don't know whether 2016 came in. It also was said to me, and I look at it this way, when we look at further down the list here, when we have these appointments, they all expire on the same date. But when you look at the resolution, it looks like they're appointed on the day we vote for them. But it should still go back to the original date that
That
the term
expires,
expires. So I think where Bob Paliotis came in was in
Yeah.
2010,
It's
I
not
know there
gonna
was an
change.
issue. We were going back and forth with the housing authority, and then we reappointed him, and it was later in 2011, which was January of 2011. So I think that's where he thinks he's still on the board until January of 2016, because he thought it was from January when we voted for it till then. But it goes back to the original date. So if we could just let him know that effective the end of November, that he is off the board.
Yeah, I have it written down.
Yeah, just send them a letter.
And you have this in your email, so I sent this to you also.
And also, I'd like to thank
And
Bob,
thank
too.
him for all his hard work, yes.
He's a great guy, did a lot of work on that board, and I certainly appreciate it, and town appreciates it.
He served almost 10, a little over 10 years on there, about 9 years, 8 months.
And best of health to him.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Reappoint?
Reappointment resolved that the town council hereby reappoints the following individual as a member of the juvenile hearing board with a term to expire 12/2019, Susan Banks.
I'll move the resolution.
Moving second, do I have a motion to move Susan Banks?
Yeah, I'll move Susan Banks' name. Susan's good on that board. She was good when she was on the planning board also, but time constraints, and she went to this, and I'm glad to have her on there.
Any other discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, discussion action, recycling trash update, sponsored by town council.
We move, is Tides here? Why don't we move number 3 up?
I'll make a motion to move number 3 to
We don't
1.
even have to, we'll just start off at number 3, because it's just discussion action, we can just move it around the way we want.
Tide School tax exempt request, sponsored by Vice President Giroux.
Ed?
Brother Michael?
Yes.
Great, welcome.
I just want to let you know that I did receive a letter from Tides that we, as a council, the entire council hasn't received yet, but it was here in the office.
What-
It was attached to the agenda as well.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
But I just want to let you know, I just got it tonight. Well, besides the agenda, but it was dated last week, I just got it tonight when I walked in.
Oh, okay. But again, it is in the agenda.
All right, so you
It was
want
mail. It was just mail.
So, Brother Michael, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself, your name and your address?
Yeah, my name is Brother Michael Reese, and I'm a Delasau Christian brother, and I live at 193 Walcott Street in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and I'm the CEO of Tides Family Services, and we've been around for this is our 32nd year that we've been operating, and most of the time, one of our main facilities has been here because when Ocean Tides had the group home on Main Street, we also operated our outreach program. And the particular program that we're most known for is our outreach and tracking, particularly the DCYF youngsters. We do home visits. We visit them at night. We check on the kids, and we do everything else. We've always had a long connection with the police department. We've been heavily involved with the middle school and the high school kids. That's kind of who we are and where we are. And
Very good.
Should I?
Well, yeah, why don't you just go over what you're asking?
Yeah,
for
what
this
we're
time?
asking for is this. We're with the Brothers of the Christian Schools, Long Island, New England District. We were formed about 50 years ago, so we take part of Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, and New England. Okay, so when you see CB Line in here, that's what that means, that's that. when we started the program 31 years ago, we needed some buildings, and we purchased a building in Pawtucket, we purchased a building in Providence, and then when we were able to, we moved out of down here and we moved into the Old Clyde Lumber Building. Okay. Now, we did not have sufficient money to buy the building, so we went to the brothers and said to the brothers, would you buy the building? Okay, and then once you finish with the building, okay, then as a technicality, since we're a nonprofit, we are in the Catholic directory, we are listed underneath the Brothers of the Christian Schools, one of their work, that as a 501c3, it helps us if we can take ownership, because then we have assets, okay, and that. In all honesty to you, like the rest of the nonprofit world, we were terribly hurt by the budget cuts for the last 3 years. You know, our agency alone lost $2 million. Okay, we're going to survive it. We're doing well. Okay, but what I'm coming to you is ask that we take over the 2 buildings and the parking lot. One is the school, the other is the parking lot, the other is part-time school, and then we have our administrative and our workers operate out the building. We have no intention of changing anything that we've done in the past, okay? It helps us out because then we have some assets on the books, which then will leverage foundations and other kinds of grants money. So it's a simple transaction. As I say, we're still listed under the Brothers of the Christian Schools, and we have no intention of using the building for anything else than what we are currently using them for.
So you're asking that the tax exempt status that you currently have, that CB line currently has the Christian Brothers of Long Island and New England,
Yeah,
what they enjoy right now, you'd like to be transferred
to us.
to you.
As one of the,
Ray Beatty, do you have anything that you want to mention on how they originally, Ray and I had a discussion about this, how they originally got the status?
Well, Christian Brothers are exempt by
Ray, you got to
state.
get over so we can pick you up.
Christian Brothers are exempt by state law. So there is nothing actually in the law that gives you the power to exempt them.
Right.
I would recommend, the recommendation would be that we do the same as we did for the station. Have them go to the state and receive exemption, like the station nightclub organization. You had them file with the state to be an exempt organization. That way I could exempt it. That would be the way to go.
Okay,
And that's what we did.
I think that might be a very timely thing.
That would be the next General Assembly.
Yeah, this we didn't discuss, but there is another way, and I think you're saying that we really don't have.
There's no authority anywhere in the law.
But we've done this before. I know since I've been here, I think we've done it before where we allow them to be, not them, but another entity.
I don't
So
know.
you're saying that
Everyone you've ever granted has always been granted by law. It's always been by law, every one of them. There was actually some that have come that we did not grant. Like there's churches.
Churches are exempt by law?
But churches and school by law are exempt, as long as used exclusively for religious or educational purposes. We've actually had churches come before you that are in strip malls that we denied. Because that building was not used exclusively for religious or educational purposes. And we have denied them.
That's the one where
There's actually been 2 of them. There was another one also.
Right over here.
All right, so, all right, this was not my understanding, and I apologize for this. I thought that we did have, and I thought with our discussion on the phone, I got the indication at the council that it was going to the council. As a matter of fact, you sent it to the council.
No, I didn't. No, they wrote the letter to the council themselves.
Well, no, I know, but when you got it, you told me on the phone that you forwarded it to the council.
Oh, I just gave it, because I got a letter same as Dave got and everything else. I just gave it to them to
Right,
review.
okay. So I got the impression that this council does have the authority, I thought we did have the authority to make that decision here. All right, so you're saying we don't have the authority, we can't do it, or
Yeah.
what are you saying?
By law? No, you don't have the authority. Have other councils probably in the state probably written up some kind of resolution, say they won't collect taxes from a property? Well, I'm sure they have.
Okay.
But per state law, there's nothing in there that gives you the power to do that.
Okay, so how?
We've
long-
had that discussion for years in the Rhode Island Assessors Association.
All right, so how long do you think it would take for them to go through the process that you're recommending?
Go to General Assembly, next session. Yeah.
Well, has the property been transferred yet,
No.
brother?
No, it
And
hasn't tra-
when do you
And
expect
if
that
there
to happen?
hasn't, and if it hasn't transferred
By the
by
end of
December
December.
31st, then it makes no difference, because they would maintain the exemption
Good for
because the
next
other
year.
one, and they'd have the whole session to do it.
For the year.
Correct.
They'd have until
Would they
next,
be prepared
next
to do that?
December 31st to have it taken care of. You'd have that much time.
Between now and December, next
So,
year.
so long as you don't transfer the property between now and the end of the year,
Yeah,
you will basically have until the following December 31st to go to the General Assembly and get the
Okay.
exemption that you need, and then you can come back to the council and everything will be,
But part,
right.
yeah, but part of the issue was not just the money, it's difficult, but also having an asset. It benefits you.
yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
as long as they can wait until,
Right, okay.
and I don't know if that's the case or not, but if you can wait until
I
after
don't
December
either. I mean,
31st, then it kind of,
It's only 5 weeks.
Yeah, no, but if I'm hearing you correctly, the only choice we have is to go to the General Assembly. Yeah, no, I mean, so we have to wait. So, yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty to you, yeah, after December, then we have to go to the General Assembly and get House and Senate.
Does that have to be sponsored by us, or?
No.
That's a law.
They can be pre-filed,
But you can work with,
and it can move very quickly, because there's no one's going to object, and if the town has a letter saying that they have no objection to it.
Okay, so
I
we
was gonna
could,
say, should he reach out to Representative Nude, Serpent,
Yeah.
and Senator Satchel and say, hey, this is what I like to
we
work
can help you
on?
with that, we can
We
help
could.
get that support.
Okay,
Because that's, Senator Satchel actually worked with the station fire.
yeah, I've done a lot of work with Pat Serpa when she was in schools, so yeah, so I could approach Pat and we
Pat
can
can help
get
you.
there.
right,
Okay,
all right, so,
okay.
yeah, so it sounds like we're endorsing that, but there is a
Good.
process, and again, I apologize. I thought the process that
Yeah.
was that you came here, and it was, seemed to be a little confusion
Yeah.
on exactly how it had to be done. But in any case,
Yeah, would we get a letter from town council that they're not opposed to this?
Yeah,
Yes.
once the legislation goes in and has a
Yeah.
number, the council can forward a letter indicating that they have no
Okay.
objection to this
Oh,
type of
okay.
exemption for your
Actually,
property.
Marion, you could draw up that letter now, and that way then.
Fill in the blanks, like.
okay,
Okay,
You gotta explain that it's already tax exempt, and you're just transferring the.
yeah.
It's a public service, they've been
Right.
providing for many years, and it's been tax exempt up to this point, yeah, it's easy to.
okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
very good,
brother.
thank you very
Hope
much.
that helped you.
Recycling trash update sponsored by town council.
Update, Angelo, I know you sent a few emails, I know I sent a few emails.
Microphone.
I got a little,
Microphone.
Heated?
had a little heated Sunday, especially when they were stopping by my house and calling both phones, and when they miss, I talked to Dave. Dave's been great about it. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. It's just no excuse for Mega to skip certain houses that they have been. I mean, it's just, you know, for example, Sweetbriar, they do one side and they didn't do the other side. Horta, they did one side, they didn't do the other side. Providence Street, it seemed like they missed houses, and then they left it. Brookfield Platte, they missed houses and did it. I mean, I know it takes time to get the bugs out, but Dave was, called them, made sure they picked it up the next day because people were loaded with garbage. I mean, I don't know, Dave, you can explain better, you don't wanna talk to them, so,
It's the same thing on Smith Street, they miss Smith Street, they're missing houses left and
yeah,
right.
Clyde
It
Street.
seems, when they go out, they change the routes, well, we changed the routes so that everybody would be collected on one day. So the last 5 years, the trash guys have been trained to go out and do these streets, and then they know where they end, and then the next truck comes in and picks up from there and goes on. Well, now that they're using the one-arm truck, the routes have changed, but they're using the same drivers, and the drivers didn't realize that they were supposed to be picking up these extra streets. They thought the other truck was coming in to pick them up. And that's what happened when they missed the streets up on the hill. So now,
But
when I
they
met with
said,
Mega.
what was, I didn't know what the, not to interrupt you, but while you're on that, on Prospect Hill, Prospect Street, why can't they pick up their garbage because they can't put the handle, I told you, Flynn,
Well, the Prospect Street, you know how narrow it is.
Yeah.
Well, if they drive the truck in, they have to back the truck all the way back out, and then turn around, and then back the truck all the way down to do the other side of the street. So what they're asking is that people can put the stuff on one side, so that they can just go down and make one pass and then get out of there. That's what they would like them to do. But they get resistance from the neighbors because they don't want to put the trash across the street. So now, you know, the guy either has to get out of the truck, move the barrels himself, which that's not what he's supposed to be doing, or at least get the neighbors to put them on one side so the truck doesn't have to, like I said, go in one side, back all the way out, turn around on Prospect Hill, and then back all the way down again to get the other side. You know, there's got to be some cooperation with the neighbors and you know, when they put the bins out too. So that's why they're putting the stickers on them that said, ask them if they could relocate the barrel. Right? So, Prospect Street is that little tiny narrow
yeah, the
street.
one that we had it opened up.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they didn't think about this before implementing it. That's the biggest thing. That's what we're getting is a lot of miscommunication. And, you know.
It would work if
Yeah,
we could just
I'm not arguing with Dave,
the neighbors to, you know, put the barrels on one side of the street on that particular street.
again, when
We
you
did
do
the same
something-
thing on Lemoyne Court.
But we've talked about this.
So now
maybe-
the neighbors are all putting it on the left side, I'm sorry, if you're going in, it'd be the left side, and then the truck just backs in, and then he just hits them all on the
So
right
what
coming
are
out,
they,
and
let
it
me
works
ask you a
fine.
question. What are they doing on one-ways?
Yeah.
What are they doing on Douglas? What are they doing on Sisson? Are they backing up the wrong way? You know, you're not telling the people on Sisson Street to put all that trash on the same side of the road.
No.
So what are they doing on one-way streets?
That's another one that's gonna have to get
You know,
addressed.
it's kind
Yeah.
of,
There's a learning curve, we knew that going in, and you knew that, we
I mean, I
told you that.
understand what you're saying, and we're saying too, but it's the same thing in the snow. I mean, they gotta drag that, I don't know.
There's a
I mean,
learning
they should've
curve,
been-
and we know there was gonna be a learning
When
curve.
they've been on this, they looked at each and every street.
Yep.
It's nothing to do with us. They've been on it. They didn't bring that to our attention that there's gonna be a problem on Prospect Street, there's gonna be a problem on Sisson, whatever else. They have to abide by what the people want. They pay the taxes. I don't think we should put the people out and let them carry that across the street. I really don't. I don't know if anybody else feels it.
Yeah, I don't think we should either, to tell you the truth. I can imagine in wintertime, and I have to agree with what Angela was saying. We got a contract with them.
Yeah,
They knew these streets existed. I don't care if they have to turn around,
Right.
go around the neighborhood, come back.
Either that or send
I don't
another
care.
truck, whatever they
I
gotta
want
do.
the citizens, they're the ones that are paying for it.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to be getting. I mean, so it costs them a little more gas.
like I said, what are they,
No,
what
it's
are
not,
they doing?
they're not complaining about fuel or anything
What are
like
they
that all the
doing on,
time.
what are
It's
they
not-
doing on one-way streets?
I mean, it's, one thing, it's unsafe to be pulling out on Prospect Street and trying to turn a truck onto Prospect Hill, turning a truck around and then trying to back down in there again,
Well, I mean,
you
we
know
could
what I
say
mean?
it's unsafe for a neighbor
So-
to drag that big barrel across the street when there's ice on the road too.
I mean, I happen to take
I've
the
got to favor
citizen
the
side.
constituent, I mean,
Yeah.
I really do. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think it's safe for somebody to be schlepped across. I don't think it's safe to have somebody schlepping across the street who's elderly or whatever on ice with traffic coming or anything else.
I mean, it's a dead-end street, there's nothing there, I mean, myself, I wouldn't mind, I would do it, but that's because I would wanna do it. But I don't think that we should put the burden on the citizens of this town because of they don't wanna do something. I mean, we always managed to do it, Dave.
Yeah, we weren't doing it with a
Well, I
long
mean,
truck and
and
90
we
gallon
weren't,
cans
we
either.
weren't getting the contracts that they had. We worked for the citizens, they work for us, so,
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
they have to abide by that.
Well, when we did trash, we backed the truck down one shot, and then the guys would pull from both sides of the street. We weren't using one-arm trucks. If we did this with one-arm trucks, we'd be in the same predicament.
But Dave, I'm not making
Yeah.
excuses for them because they already, like I said, they knew that route the first day when they came to bid on it. I mean, they knew we had so many thousand houses. They didn't say we had 100 less, right? They went through every one, so,
They may need a pickup with a couple of
right.
barrels in the back.
That's their problem, but They better pick it up.
We'll speak.
Like I said, what are they doing on?
We know you can handle it, Dave.
What are they doing on Douglas and Sisson that are one-way streets? They're all multifamily houses on those two streets, matter of fact. So how are they picking up bins on?
Actually, we haven't got any complaints from Douglas and Sisson. I think the people on Douglas and Sisson are actually putting them on one side of the road.
Are they?
I think so, because I haven't gotten any complaints at all from those two streets.
I'll double check. but-
We haven't.
Either that or go look,
Not
the
one-
garbage is
not
still
one
all there.
complaint from them.
So you'd be hearing it if it did.
No, it's not there.
Oh, yeah, I've been getting.
Well, anyway.
Somebody misses something. I get the-
I just handed you the updated call logs. Okay, they're completed. Every phone call has been answered and returned,
Wards.
all of them.
You didn't put the ward.
Well, I give you a little homework while you're on the
We
throne.
don't need homework.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need
I
any
have all
more
that spare
homework.
time. You know what your streets are, they're in there. Every phone call's been returned. We actually received the last of the shipment for the 65-gallon cans, and they started going out yesterday. The 35s will be in the 1st of December, and they'll be going to the elderly first, and then the handicapped, and then whatever's left will be spread out through the rest, okay? Everything's out there.
All right, let's talk about the ones that we're picking up that by ordinance we shouldn't be. I understand it's about 187 locations that we're picking up. We gave them barrels.
There was
that
100
by ordinance, they shouldn't have barrels.
I believe it was 101, and that will, if everybody took advantage of it, would break down to 287 stops. 287 pickups.
287 stops.
287,
Okay.
yeah.
And are two of those stops religious rectories?
I can tell you the church near my house,
The church?
Yeah.
is near my house.
We picking up trash from the church?
We were,
All right.
but they put out like one little can.
What do you mean we were? So
We
we're
were.
not anymore?
We didn't last week, no.
I can tell you right now, St. Peter and Paul,
You know, they had called and asked for, I thought you told me that they were gonna get bins.
Christ the King up here wanted a recycling bin.
Yeah.
So we gave them a recycling bin because they have a dumpster. The other one at St. Peter Paul, they didn't ask for anything.
We get mine for recycling.
Okay, so you're gonna offer that to anybody that wants it then?
We'll take,
Then you're gonna open a
You're
can of
gonna
worms
give
in
it
the
to
condos.
5-unit families now? They want some
Condos?
recycling bins? Condos? I mean, what are we gonna do? What is this? We have an ordinance, right?
yes.
You wanna change it, I said this last time, you wanna change it, fine,
Last-
let's get it up on the table, change it. But like right now,
Well, this is where we get into trouble. This is where we get into trouble. We start going rogue just a little bit. Then we go a little bit further. Then we go a little bit further. Then 10 years from now, we're like, well, yeah, we've been
out
doing
of
this for
control.
so long, that's how it goes.
exactly.
Well,
Look
then it's
around,
expected.
look around in Ward 3 and some of the decisions that were made on zoning.
The last meeting, this council said to provide bins to everyone that was getting trash collection before we started this process. So that's what they were instructed to do. So anybody that called that said, I was getting it before, we delivered the bins, but when we delivered them, we made it clear to them that the council is going to readdress it, and if by ordinance they're not allowed, we might look at a fee.
Yeah.
If you have to pay for the bins and you have to pay for the collection.
And that's what I thought we
Correct.
wanted to do.
And
But
that's
he
what we
just
did.
said he's not gonna give garbage bins to the church. So why is
He
that
said
an
he's not.
exemption that he made? He's
said
not, but that's
didn't
not
say
what
it
we all
wasn't-
decided on.
I
I'm
didn't
not
say
saying
I
it's right or
wasn't, I
wrong.
didn't say I wasn't
Yeah.
going to.
Oh, okay.
Whatever ordinance you give me, I'm gonna follow.
All right.
It makes no difference to me. I'm just following the ordinance.
If they were getting it before, then we deliver the bins per your instructions. Anyone else, we're telling them the ordinance is the ordinance.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
We directed Dave to do
Right,
exactly what you
right,
did.
exactly. Of course, I didn't
Correct.
know they were delivering it
Well, we said whoever.
to churches.
Doesn't matter.
You said whoever,
I'm
yeah.
a good
Said
Christian
whoever.
and go to church every Sunday, but still, that's
Well,
not the ordinance.
No, but Ed, for instance, St. Peter and Paul, now, there's the question. St. Peter and Paul, their church doesn't put out trash, but their rectory does, which is a separate house. That,
Still not tax.
you know, but they've always had their trash picked up. Now, this time around, they haven't said a word, but they put their regular bins out there, and the trash stood there for a couple of days, and then it disappeared.
They picked it up and put it in a dumpster.
So, I think.
I think
now
they
that
caught
we
on.
know
Yeah, because
the
they knew
dumpster-
that all these years, we were doing them a favor, looking the other way, and we picked it up.
I don't think they were, I just think they, you know, they were just.
All right. So,
Maybe
You're not
they,
questioning the nuns, that's
maybe
up to
they
you,
were
but
part
I'm
that
not-
read the pamphlet.
yeah, right. Well, I'm still going back to what I said now for the last two meetings. All right, we're picking up trash and recycling, and just because we make money off the recycling, again, you can't give one and not the 5 units, because we're gonna make money on those too, right? So,
And then you're gonna have
what are we gonna do?
condos and-
You know right now that we're picking up hundreds of stops that we're not supposed to based on our ordinance. So either you're gonna change the ordinance or you're gonna condone, you know,
Yeah, we have
that the
couple-
ordinance means nothing.
There's basically two options, as I see it. You can either, well, three options. You could change the ordinance. Two, you can initiate a system where we charge them for the bins and we charge them for the collection
The other thing we
at
discussed-
cost.
I think we
And
need a
then,
workshop.
and then the,
I mean, this
Well, the
is,
other thing we discussed was that Mega would give them a price.
that's what, no, we're getting a price, but it would make more sense to come through us because Mega can't charge them a price to pick up while they're doing our route. That gets very messy.
There's no
So
way to
we would have
separate
to
it.
do it, we would have to basically provide that to them through Mega, because we can't say, all right, Mega, you can make deals with everybody, and while you're working for us, you can make money on somebody else. It doesn't work that way.
At the last meeting, Ed, you asked me to poll the other communities and
Yeah, I saw
find out
that.
what they did. I
Thank
sent
you.
you guys the results. I got two more back today. And again, on the mixed-use properties, the communities are giving trash service to the residential side, but not the commercial side. And the average of the units that they allow is 4. So, I mean, if we went in line with that, I mean, I don't see a problem with that. We service the residential sides, let the commercial sides get their dumpsters, let them do what they need to do. We'll get the recycling.
Those 287 stops, have you broken that down to what they actually are? Are they mixed use? Are they 5
That's
units?
just the
or-
mixed use.
That's just the mixed use?
Yeah. That's
Alright,
the
so-
mixed use.
So 287 stops, there's no other stops that you're not
No,
mentioning?
no, not stops, units per the 101, was it 101, Ray? Mixed use? I think it was 101 mixed use, and there were 287 units within those 101.
Are those just residential, or are those?
No, that's the business and the thing, so subtract the business from, it'd be 101 less, so it'd be 187. 186.
Right, but,
Well, it's 2 different trucks, so it'll be 187 per truck. But it'd be spread out over 5 days,
so the 287 are the units.
yes.
So doesn't that equate to 287 dumpsters?
No, because 101 of them will be the commercial side. So subtract 101 from the 287, you get 186.
Okay. So those are the only ones that,
I think the number I gave you is the number of units, not counting the commercial.
That's what you said.
I thought you said, yeah,
So it's 287.
I thought you said it was, the whole thing was 287. Yeah, I think that's what you said it was. You said there was 101, and it broke down to 287 units. Yeah.
yeah, we need a workshop,
So-
because we can't
Let's
let
have a
this,
workshop where we can look at the ordinance we have now,
Alright.
we can get some more details
Get
on
the numbers, get the
properties.
maps.
yeah, get the numbers, put the numbers in writing, you know, so make sure they're
Want it
accurate.
around the next
maybe,
meeting, or?
yeah,
set it
maybe
for-
we meet an hour before the meeting or something. I mean, why kill 2 nights? I mean, well, it's all we're gonna need is about an hour.
More than an hour.
You think so?
You guys will be 2 and 3.
So we don't have a problem in town where we're picking up, 5 units.
In one case, there was a 5 unit that was getting service, so we gave them the buckets temporarily until there was a decision made.
Well, it was, but it's two different buildings.
Yeah.
It's 2 separate buildings on the same lot, that issue we talked about before. We had a 2 unit and a 3 unit. They've always been getting trashed, and that's why we delivered.
It's one commercial piece of property though, right?
Or
Yeah.
one piece of property.
And there'll probably be somebody that'll be willing to
It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But at least this way, even if you decide you're not gonna provide to those places,
Yeah, I don't think we should. That's a
we have
business.
time to give them notice, because that was the big complaint, was that there was no notice when it stopped. So now they're getting it, and once the council makes their decision, if certain ones are gonna be cut off, we'll provide them with ample notice and say, as of this date, you will no longer receive trash per ordinance.
Yeah, and our contract with the vendor,
Yep.
it's based on stops?
It's based upon the number that we gave them, but there's some play in there as we work through this, that they're not gonna.
Okay,
Based-
so
based
this
on roughly
287 or whatever it is,
Yeah,
doesn't put us over our contract. They knew about, they had to know that these were included in the numbers that we gave them?
no.
No, so
But
there,
they-
it's
but they've
above
given
of what,
us- Yeah, it's above and beyond, they're letting us work through this.
Out of
until we figure out our
9,300
firm numbers,
Out
'cause
of
they understand what's
9,300 stops, they weren't concerned about the 187.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll work with us on that, because, like we're saying, we're changing some of the 90 gallons to 65s and some others to 35s. So it's going to kind of offset what ends up
yeah,
in the
but the
truck.
tonnage doesn't make any difference for them. It's-
Well, it depends
it's-
on the quantity that goes in the
It's the
truck.
stops. I mean, a lift is a lift, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
a small barrel.
Yeah, but right, they gotta go back and come back.
Bring it back,
Yeah.
and that's time consuming for them.
Yeah.
I know a lot of information was given out in the flyer that you created, that was when the bins were handed out. Is Mega, are there drivers or their assistant drivers, I don't know how they work it out, do they have information that they're putting for different situations? So like, just driving here tonight, somebody had a toilet sitting in their front yard. They might not be aware of the fact that they have to call.
That's a flower pan.
Yeah. Somebody had a couch,
They've been calling.
so the people get
The
called
people have been
by
calling
Mega.
to sign up for a bulk pickup.
Something like that, Nicole will be going around, and she's
Yeah.
getting them for us, so she's gonna be going, now
But
that
they've been
the
calling,
calls
so-
are all caught up with. That's part of her job, is to educate people about the change.
So she'll just be driving around, if she sees an address, she'll just call the address and let them know the new
Or s-
policy.
Yeah, we'll
Give
put
them
it,
a
we
notice
have a
on the
sticker to
door,
put
yeah.
on it or whatever.
Cool,
Yeah.
all right, I was just making sure people were getting that information.
Yeah.
Outside that flyer.
We already have probably 30 or 40 stops for the first bulk pickup on the list.
When's the first one?
The first Saturday in December.
First Saturday.
In December, yeah. You finding that people are leaving these barrels out longer than they should?
In some cases.
Some
But it's getting better, though.
It is.
It's
you know,
getting better.
And thanks to you.
And if you look at the
Nicole.
the streets are actually staying cleaner.
They're much-
Because you don't have the stuff blowing down the roads. So
I
it's
must-
getting
Well,
there.
I
drive
must
down
say,
Earl
you know-
Street tomorrow.
And don't forget, this is only the
Knock on the
second
door.
week that we've been picking up recycling too, so.
Yeah.
And last week, a lot of the people on Providence Street had recycling out when they weren't
Yeah.
supposed to, when that's what they were calling up and aggravating him about.
what
But they
I
didn't
know
read
is-
and they didn't realize that, well, wait a minute, this
The
isn't a
ones that
recycling week.
complain,
Turn
and
on your microphone.
I'll say it publicly, I told Dave, I even told my constituents, the ones that complain are the ones that don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Because they were told that recycling was every other week, and sure as hell, they were calling me, call after call after call, they didn't pick up the recycling. Who didn't read their literature? Who did, who didn't? The first to say, they're always missing my house with recycling. Well, because they're not gonna pick it up, because every other week. And me and Dave were laughing, on Sunday, matter of fact. I miss them so much, we even gotta talk on a Sunday.
What drives me, you drive down some of the streets and you see 10 houses do it right, and then you've got the one that still has the recycling out, and it's like,
Yep.
don't you even look around?
And the piles of bags on the side of the cans are getting smaller and smaller, and, you know, eventually it's gonna work out, but gotta give it a little time. That's right.
It's better this week, it'll be better next week.
Okay, well,
I did learn though, having a 13-year-old birthday party with 42 kids at the house.
filled up that barrel fast.
I'm gonna need another one.
The kids are still trying to get out of it.
Yeah, but that only happens once a year, so share the can with one of your neighbors.
Oh, I plan on it.
Yeah.
I'll be walking up and down my street filling up each.
I found my barrel across the street this week.
At least you
I
found
don't
it.
know why.
It was a good thing.
It wasn't windy.
It went over the trucks I just left.
I guess so. It went this way and just kept on going. It was on the other side of the
They
street.
thought you were going to the bank with all hundreds in
I
there.
don't know what it was.
Yeah.
All right.
Call saying his got stolen,
That's it.
and they were behind his house.
Really?
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, David.
Arctic Village Association contribution.
Team 250, we had $500 for them, and we split it, 250 for the Arctic Theater, and 250 for them.
So what do you wanna do this year?
I'd like to give them the 500. They're going to use this money they're renovating the antique bells that we used back in the 50s. They found, well, I guess there's some work that has to be done on those bells, and there's a few other things that they want to do, but I know they do a great job. I think it's probably one of the best attended lighting ceremonies in the state.
I agree with Ed, I second that.
And I'd like to give them that 500. I recommend that anyway.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That was easy.
How much you need, Dave?
We need a new tree.
Yeah, I know.
Request for a waiver of interest and fees, AP 30, Lot 51, previously tabled, sponsored by Councilman Tucker.
Now, we even want to discuss this, keep it on the table.
I just wanted to let the council know that we have a meeting scheduled for the 24th of November. We did talk to Glenn Andreoni's office, and we are in the process of trying to present them with options. But I did want to mention that earlier there was an abatement tonight on the list of abatements. Due to the new assessment or the acceptance of the new assessment, the bill went down about $5,000 for the 2015 bill. So now the total is 118 instead of the 123, which was previously provided to them. So we're hopeful that that will.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else we can do to lower the amount, but hopefully, once we have the conversation with them and they realize what their options are, they could take advantage of it. We did look into a tax
They're
sale.
gonna be sorry they give us that price.
We did look into the potential tax sale, but it would take a 90-day notification, so it doesn't make any sense to actually do something earlier than May, but there may be some other options which we'll discuss with them on the 24th. Next council meeting, we'll have it taken off the table again, and I'll provide an update.
Can you email me what happens with that?
Absolutely. Do you want me to send you the invite?
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. Okay.
Town manager report.
On that note, as you'll recall, there were 2 lots on that site that were merged for the purpose of the tax sale. The other lot, there's an interested party who is working to purchase the property and do everything, and the taxes will be paid on that one through that process. They are asking for, because of the timing of where we're at now in the winter, they are asking permission to, from the council, if you will, to allow them to get a building permit, even though there's still taxes on the property, just to put the foundation in while they can still do the cement at their own risk. So if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, they're out the money, and it's their issue.
Company.
I don't know. I got a call from Bob Boyer, and he's representing
Why
him.
would they want to spend money on a foundation if they knew to win? I mean, it's.
No, they said they're gonna do it. They want to be able to put the building up as soon as possible. I think there's really nothing that we can lose, but because the way that the ordinance reads, you can't get a building permit if there's taxes owed on the property. But if they were to understand it's at their risk, and we could have the solicitor write something up to that effect, I don't really see the harm, but I just figured I'd offer it to the council for discussion, because
Actually, once the foundation's in, Ray can go back out reappraising the taxes and walk anyway.
That's right.
It's at 10% done.
I have no problem with that.
That's right, Ray, it's your last week, isn't it?
any issue with that, Tim, do you think?
Maybe.
Anthony,
We'd have to work out the payment of what is owed prior to. They'd have to make a payment on that, so they were, in compliance, and then let the council approve what they're seeking.
Payment plan.
Right, if they're on a payment plan, I don't think you can just go and say, don't pay anything, but we're gonna allow you to put the foundation in at your risk.
We're not allowing them, because there's no action to allow them. We're just turning our.
No,
line item.
they have to apply for a building permit,
Right.
and under
Which would
our
be
ordinance
denied.
says you
They'll be denied.
can't,
They'll
you
be
can't,
denied.
right,
Right.
And then they'll be in violation, so
correct.
who's making the decision?
They don't want to be in violation,
Well,
they
what I'm
want to
getting at is
basically do it with the,
If everything's gonna be subject to a payment plan, and they agree,
yep,
and John's satisfied with it, and everybody's happy with it, now they have a payment plan for taxes.
all right, we could put,
And that would give you a little bit more leverage to allow them to get a permit to put that foundation in.
all right, we can discuss that with
Because
them and
right
see
now,
if we can,
no taxes have been paid on that second lot for
Correct.
how long?
long time,
Right, so
yeah.
they're gonna have to make some type of payment, because, I mean, you're not gonna, pay a buck and go put your foundation in. They're gonna
Right.
have to pay something
Yep.
substantial that you're gonna have to approve. And then obviously, after that, have a.
Work
payment.
something out with
Okay.
them. I don't think anybody has a problem with that anyway.
All right, we'll do something. All right. Last meeting, we talked about the road bond and establishing a committee. Were there any council members that would be willing to, or, okay, Brian?
Yeah.
Well, everything would come before you, but this is kind of just to go through the process of how each project will be coming.
We'll just advertise it as a meeting, public
So you want to do it as a workshop then?
I want to be part of it.
Yeah, I want to be
You
part
want
of
to
it.
just make it part of that workshop we're going to do for?
Sure, why not?
All right, so, okay,
You're on reports, right?
yes.
Dave?
I'm still going, hold on one more thing. Just to give you a quick update on the wind turbines, the foundations are under construction right now, the final foundations. Those will be completed the week of December 14th. The towers will be delivered on the site that same week. Right now, what they're looking at is a delivery of the turbines themselves will be in early April, and then it basically just takes a day to put it up once they arrive, when the towers are already erected. So they're looking at mid-April to be operating in a testing phase, which is required by National Grid, and probably looking at May for full power. So that's the schedule right now. So everything is moving forward. The project's about 70% complete right now. The bulk of that is running the transmission lines from the turbines up 117 to the point of that they can serve back into the grid.
Did they hit some snags? Because I thought they were originally planning on turning them on in January.
They were hopeful that everything that could happen, but it was the transmission lines and National Grid getting the work down 117. There were a few extra snags, but we're still well ahead. I mean, we based all of our performance on a July 1 start. So everything that we've done is based on July 1. So anything we get before then is gravy, if you will. So we're still well on track. One last thing that I have is just this week I'm taking Friday, and next week I'm taking Monday as vacation days. I'm actually going to be out of state in Kansas City Friday through Sunday for.
Want to see the wizard?
No, I'm doing I'm part of the ICMA conference committee. I was elected as the president of the Rhode Island City and Town Managers Association, and as such, I represent the state in the national conference committee. So I just have to go down for a few days to do that. But John, I'm going to act. Well, it's not technically official town business either, so I don't feel comfortable taking it as a work day. But John is going to be acting unless there's any issue with while I'm out of the state. I'll be back late Sunday night. I'll be around Monday, but I get in like midnight, so I figured I'd take the next day. That's all I have.
While you're on reports, just to add to Fred's, I want to thank Dave and DPW. They did a heck of a job getting together with the Patuxent River Authority. They got all the trees out of the water. What a job they did, I'll tell you. The Patuxent River Authority is amazed on how these guys worked, 4 of them. I just thank you. I watched them all day. They were right near my shop. And thank you. And tell the guys that they did a good job. And the only other thing that I want to bring up, I got a call this week, well, last week, and a couple things been on my mind every time you go through audit. I don't know if it's your part of it or David's with the bank, with the armed guard, with a bulletproof vest. I sent a couple of business people that I know to go rent a friend of mine's building, and the first thing out of their mouths, what kind of section is that? We go to Central Falls, we go to South Providence. I've never seen an armed guard outside a bank with a bulletproof vest.
I'll tell you, I was driving through Providence today, and I went by 3 or 4 of them. They were all...
Well, all I'm saying is, I mean,
Angelo, believe it or not, the reason why that guard is there is not even because of the robberies. If you speak to the president of the bank...
yeah, but put them inside. I mean, that doesn't show...
The reason why he's there is to keep the panhandlers out from harassing the customers.
But if he's outside...
With their cashing their checks.
I mean, he's a deterrent for robberies also.
I don't know, it just,
He's been
I don't
fined
think...
because of panhandlers.
I understand that, but I don't think that it sets a good...
Oh, it doesn't.
It looks really bad. And
Now there's a question, if he's intimidating panhandlers, he's
Well, yeah, don't even bring it, give them
Oh,
any more
my
room.
church, so cut it out.
But I mean, if
was
the guard
church.
can stay
That was
inside, and
church.
then if the panhandlers are bothering, then come out. I mean, you don't have to stand there all day. Just my opinion,
It was
that's all.
church.
Thank you.
The gospel, the guy's asking for money, and going on, tapping people on the shoulder for money, while they're saying the gospel, for God's sake. So, I asked him to leave. The priest wouldn't do that, he wouldn't do that, no.
Upcoming appointments,
Father Edward.
Westwood,
Does anybody else have anything for reports?
No. Thank you, Dave, for, putting up with my phone calls. I don't call him on Sunday. I have a little respect for him.
He called me, he missed me.
No, actually, when I call on Sunday, I just expect you to put it on answering machine, and pick it up on Monday morning. But
Yeah, I do
He
that,
picks it
too.
up, and thank you for that, and thanks for knocking
I
on the
thought
doors.
you don't call on Sundays.
No, I
He
do
shuts the lights
sometimes,
off in the garage.
I don't call that often.
One last thing I should have mentioned is, I had on my list, it's Ray's last meeting officially, so, okay, I'll let you.
All right. Upcoming appointments, I'm zipping through these. West Warwick Redevelopment, Ward 2, 3, 4, 5, member at large. West Warwick Public Library of Trustees, Development Commission, Juvenile Hearing Board, Patuxent River Authority, Technology Committee, Recreation Committee, Planning Board, Board of Tenant Affairs, Arctic Redevelopment Commission, West Warwick Housing Authority. Public comment. Does anybody have anything? I do, and Fred brought it up, but Ray, I know it's your last week. I'm sure you're crying in your office, saying what you're gonna do when you retire, what golf course you're gonna play on. But Valley.
Invite me once.
But again, thank you for your years of dedication. I know there's times that we've put you through the ringer up here as councilman, but you've always dealt with it, and you've always done a good job while you're here. So good luck in your endeavor, and good luck in your retirement. If you're fully retired, enjoy it. If you're getting a job somewhere else, good luck working 40 hours a week. But that's up to you. Maybe 20. But, like I said, good luck, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Ray.
Now, who's replacing him?
We actually do,
I'm kidding.
well,
left the room.
you will have on your next agenda an appointment for the tax assessor. We just completed interviews, and we made a formal offer to someone. We expect to get it back tomorrow. We have a verbal, so we'll have it on your next agenda.
You got me interested now. Because I know a lot of people, I know a few people. No, I don't know them personally, but I know names. That's why I wanna.
Motion to adjourn?
Wait a minute. Any other public comment? Everybody enjoy your holiday. Be
Happy
safe.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Phoenix tree lighting, I know Ray has had Tony working down there hard last week and this Sunday and this week, so everybody's welcome down to the Phoenix tree lighting on Thanksgiving night, 6 o'clock. Chief, I know they're looking to put the banners up. Al Zeno usually does that.
Actually, I wanted to thank Dave also for picking up the slack. We usually take care of all that, but Al Zeno's situation with his wife.
Yep. That's why I was just gonna, so Dave's taking care of that?